Sometimes heroes swap powers because they need to, and some have power swaps thrust upon them. Today we'll be looking at a world where superheroes try on one another's powers and sometimes one another's entire bodies for size. Ew, that's a gross image. And the various reasons why these swaps may have happened. Usually general mayhem and shenanigans are a part of it, which often makes power swaps some of my favorite comic book stories. I'm all about the shenanigans. Join me as we count down the top 10 superheroes who swap powers part 2. And if you haven't checked out the part 1 to this list, make sure you do that too. And stick around to the end of this list where I will have some bonus content coming your way. Oh, and if you like shenanigans and mischief as much as I do, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Alright, let's get counting. Number 10, Peter Parker and Doc Ock. This one is for you, Nerd Squad. You asked for it and you get it. While Doc Ock is not really a hero in his own right, he does aim to become one after taking over Spider-Man's body. Spider-Man of course simply passes on as Doc Ock's body is dying, so this is kind of less of a swap, more of a become the hero. Take a body taking, body snatching. Although some of his subconscious seems to survive and even be able to influence Doc Ock despite the swap. Why does this swap happen? Well, Doc Ock doesn't want to die, but like Kraven before him, he is also looking to prove a point. Namely, that he is better than Spider-Man at, well, being Spider-Man. Hence the name, Superior Spider. He ends up brutally taking down those who would oppose him and even employs a bunch of spider bots to help keep the city safe. It's all for naught, however, as Green Goblin still manages to beat him, causing Otto to admit defeat and relinquish the body back to Peter Parker. Though fortunately we do still get an Otto Octavius Spider-Man. Again, later. Spoilers. Number 9, Superior Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. This one is more of an equipment swap, but a big part of a superhero's power makeup can be equipment. During a fight against Master Pandemonium in Superior Spider-Man Volume 2, Doctor Strange and Superior Spider team up. When discussing how best to take their foe down, Doctor Strange suggests brain surgery might be a good option to consider on their giant foe, to help sever the ties between him and his power. Otto adds that Strange is not the neurosurgeon he once was and offers additional help for this seemingly ludicrous plan. Doctor Strange gives Otto his cloak of levitation and Otto gives him his spider arms. Superior Spider-Man flies around while Doctor Strange uses the extra limbs to kind of help hold open Master Pandemonium's giant head as he performs the surgery, wandering further and further into his brain. It's not weird at all. Nope. Number 8, Rogue and Gambit. So we all know that Rogue is kind of the queen of power stealing, or a power borrowing. But did you know that at one point she was also the queen of power swapping? Or I'm maybe just the princess, as it was only one time. In the Rogue and Gambit miniseries, her and Remy are forced to destroy golems that resemble them in order to get their powers back after they've been stolen. Their powers end up getting a little bit mixed up during this time as they destroy each other's golems a couple of times, causing them to have some of each other's powers. Rogue even makes some gambling puns. It's pretty cute. Also, it's just a super cute series if you're a fan of the famous couple. You should read it. Rogue and Gambit, Ring of Fire, 1 through 5, miniseries. Number 7, Psylocke and Jean Grey. This power swap was a weird one, as it was never really fully explained as to why it happened. It just kinda happened. In truth, it was likely never revealed because the storyline it was a part of never got all the time it needed to unfold. Chris Claremont set up the X-Men where a lot of things had just happened and appeared to be going back to explain why and how, but did not get enough time to do so for Psylocke and Jean. So, all we knew now was that Jean was telepathic and Psylocke was telekinetic. Though over time the lines between these two different psychic abilities would blur to the point that Psylocke would eventually have both after her full potential was unlocked by an alternate Jean Grey. Originally it was like you can only be telekinetic or you can only be telepathic, and then later they were like screw it, everyone can be everything, it's fine, it's great. You have a strong mind, do whatever you want. Number 6, Spider-Man and Hulk. This wasn't a two-way swap, but it was a pretty cool one nonetheless. During a fight with Hulk, whom Peter basically ran into on an assignment, working to get photos of him, Spider-Man was zapped by a thingy. He actually calls it that in the comics, a thingy. This thingy ends up making Spider-Man feel super weird, and eventually after getting shouted at by his boss Jameson and his colleague Betty Leeds, Peter ends up getting mad and transforming into the Hulk. Turns out the thingy had given him a dose of the Hulk's bioenergy, which was the reason for his transformation. He eventually gets it back and ends up fixing his Hulk-like issues. But for at least one issue, we gotta enjoy the zaniness that was Spider-Hulk. Spider Smash! Number 5, Raven and Starfire. This is a really cute one that also involves some body swapping. In the early 2000s show Teen Titans, Starfire and Raven end up having their bodies swapped after the Puppet King tries to trap their souls inside puppets that resemble them. Fortunately, Raven is able to use her abilities to prevent this from happening. Unfortunately, this also results in Raven and Starfire accidentally having their their bodies swapped. Initially, they're unable to use one another's abilities and are almost captured by the other Teen Titans, who are under the control of the Puppet King. However, they share with one another stories from their past in an attempt to better understand one another and how to use each other's powers. In the end, it is this newfound connection that allows them to access their powers and defeat the Puppet King, saving their teammates. Once they are back in their own bodies, they continue to work towards understanding one another better, with Starfire joining Raven for meditation and Raven inviting Starfire to visit the mall with her. So cute! I love these two together, they're so cute. BFFs for life. Number 4. Invisible Woman and Human Torch. During the Fantastic Four film Rise of the Silver Surfer from 2007, we saw these two swap powers. The film revolves around Sue and Reed's upcoming nuptials, which are interrupted by the destructive appearance of the Silver Surfer. The Human Torch chases after the Surfer and eventually winds up in the Earth's upper atmosphere before plummeting down to the ground. Coming in contact with the Silver Surfer left its mark on Johnny Storm, and Sue attempts to console him, but when she reaches out to pat his shoulder, it becomes evident that the Silver Surfer also affected Johnny on a molecular level. We learned that later, but anyways, I just like saying molecular level. Sue begins to ignite, her whole body now on fire, and when Johnny attempts to flame on to help her, he turns invisible. It seems the two have swapped powers, though Reed quickly shows up and encourages them to touch again to see if that fixes anything. And it does, cause science. Reed Richards, so smart, just being like, maybe just touch each other again. What a brilliant mind. Number 3. The Thing and Human Torch. That's right, back to the Rise of the Silver Surfer. I couldn't mention Sue and Johnny and leave out the hilarious swap between Ben and Johnny. Reed surmises that the Silver Surfer's touch has done something to Johnny's molecular structure, and encourages him to simply keep a distance till he can figure out what specifically is causing Johnny to swap powers with those that he touches. But the Thing thinks it all sounds like a good bit of fun, and charges after Johnny for a hug. He successfully makes contact, happily enjoying Johnny's flame powers momentarily, while Johnny pouts at taking on the Thing's iconic Rocky look. This whole playful swap just sums up their relationship in the comics nicely. They're like these kind of almost adoptive brothers, and they love teasing and poking fun at each other and pulling pranks. Super cute. One of the good things about that movie. Maybe the only thing. Who knows? Number 2. Superman and Batman. Sort of. As much as one can swap powers with Batman. I know y'all are gonna get mad at me. You're gonna be like, Batman doesn't have powers. He kind of has powers. He's Batman. Come on. He doesn't really have powers per se, as most of his powers come from his own sharp wits and years of training. In other words, they're all mental. But this little 4-parter story was too fun for me to leave it off of here, so here we go. After a run-in with Silver Banshee involving both Superman and Batman that left Bruce in pretty bad shape, Clark starts to lose his powers. First his X-ray vision, then his flying. Soon he is completely depowered. But where did all these powers go? It appears Batman now has them, though he isn't an expert at using them yet. He and Clark actually have a cute training montage, which is interrupted by Zatanna coming in to join them as she shares what she heard about Silver Banshee in an attempt to help get Clark his powers back. Oh my goodness. Also, superpowered Super Bat, as we call him, is just crazy. Oh my goodness. You would not want to run into him. Scary. Number 1. Power Pack. This group of siblings got their powers from a magical horse. Well, I mean, he wasn't a magical horse, but he certainly looked like a horse. Alfire Whitemane was in reality a Chimelian who crash landed close to their home. Alex, Julia, Jack, and Katie Power went to investigate and found the alien. He told them he had been shot down by an alien race known as the Snarks. He ended up imbuing the children with his powers, which they then split between them. During times of great duress or stress, they could actually swap their powers, though they often didn't have much control over exactly how they would get swapped around. They would also often change up their code names as a result of their power swapping. Thanks for watching, Nerd Squad. I hope you enjoyed this list. What other power swaps would you like to hear about in the comic book world? Villains and supers? Villains and villains? More supers and supers? Let us know in the comments below. And let us know if you feel like there are still some superhero swaps that we've missed out on. Oh, we can also learn about supers and regular people. That's always a fun one. Before we go though, let's turn to some of our comments from one of our previous videos, Top 10 Superheroes Who Swapped Powers Part 1. Ultimate Marvel 1610 comments, well, I'm not a nerd when it comes to this game, but it's Portal 2. You nailed it! I'm a huge fan of puzzle solving games like Portal and adventure games with puzzles like Tomb Raider. Good eye, my friend. Especially for one who claims to not be a huge Portal fan. Medium Cool 2000 comments, I laughed so hard at Amanda's fusion dance. Thank you very much. I like to think of myself as more of an amethyst. And that's all the time we have for comments today. If you want your comment featured in a future video, make sure to comment below. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and my name is Amanda McKnight. Thank you so much for watching, friends, and you stay nerdy, YouTube. Oh man, this voice sucks. Someone dub me.